Konnichiwa, it's being watched. We got some real interesting vibes with this episode as we take a lot of influence from Japan in this personal little story about honor and loyalty. This 12-year-old's last surviving family member, his brother, is murdered by a gang member, and he's looking to settle the score, getting the attention of the machine. Now John has to find him before he does anything rash. Turns out nobody was keeping an eye on this kid. He was briefly at the police station after his brother was killed, but skipped out of there after the caseworker didn't show up. So John goes looking, breaking into his apartment and checking out his cool posters.
Hey, who are you?
Detective Stills.
Oh my god, he kept the badge of the corrupt cop he murdered in the pilot. This guy is incorrigible. John stalks around this black neighborhood for a while, meeting the gang members and noticing this comic book shop where the proprietor is talking about being a superhero doesn't always mean having powers or a costume, and yeah, man, we get it. You're talking about John Reese. I knew this was a superhero show from the start. It's a lot of things. It's also kind of Quantum Leap if you stretch it far enough. He eventually finds the child, Darren, right when he's pulling a gun on his brother's murderer in the street. John stops him and his Carter's like right there and immediately arrests the gang member, Brick, even though he wasn't even doing anything. Then John steals her car. He needs to get Darren out of here. He's kinda sorry about it.
Sorry.
He doesn't want to watch this kid, so he calls up Fusco and makes him do it. Fusco doesn't want to. He's busy, he has a day job, and so he takes Darren to a child's home he knows about, which is really passing the buck, and Darren will, once again, run away at the earliest opportunity. Why did he go to Fusco with this in the first place? Well, he did just abandon Carter, so I guess she can't do it. And Finch is busy. He's rebuilding the library system after last week's security breach, and that's going to take him several hours. Leave him alone. What Finch is actually up to is talking to Will Ingram again. You remember Will. He's the son of Harold's dead friend, and he was poking around his dead father's belongings and discovered some interesting details. Harold is there to pretend to have no idea what he's talking about, deny, even though there's just a ton of evidence that the machine exists. He just needs to put the pieces together. Like, he's trying to contact Alicia, the government contact from the flashbacks, and found out that she's moved to Green Bank, West Virginia, the only place in America that doesn't have Wi-Fi. Hold on, wait, that can't be true. The entire state of Nevada exists. There are definitely more backwater places than West Virginia. Sorry, West Virginia, not impressed. Anyway, he's trying to talk to her, and Harold tells him that's probably not worth his time. There's no mystery here. Gaslight, gatekeep, etc. It's clear Harold is lying about everything. Will thinks his name is Harold Wren, who works in insurance. Look at his office and his secretary. And this is pretty clearly another cover identity because, come on, Harold Wren, Finch, Wren, Tiny Birds. No way is this his actual identity. You don't do this cutesy shit with your actual name. We'll get back to the Will problem later. You will not believe how little this ends up mattering. So John has to track Darren down again, and he's walking into the bar and calling out gang members. This kid has absolutely no fear. If he was just a little bit older, he would be getting his ass kicked.
Try and get yourself killed, Scrappy Doo?
You're beginning to wear my last nerve.
He comes pretty close to that, but John interferes, using violence to de-escalate, which really shouldn't work, but John being a badass finally ingratiates him with Darren, who has decided that John is super cool and he wants to hire him. John agrees to this eventually, even though this kid was really rude to him.
Technically, you should have killed yourself.
Because it's his job, he's a superhero. He'll prove himself a ronin or whatever this kid thinks. He doesn't want to be paid, but agrees to become Darren's retainer for a single quarter. This happens in the same episode we were reminded that Finch gave the machine to the government for $1, and I'm trying to figure out why there is a parallel here. And then I remembered that the machine is technically supposed to be a good thing? And like, is the message about selflessness? Is it about maintaining the honor of capitalism? Can't accept charity? Gotta have a stake in it? I don't really know. This doesn't really feel like the same thing, actually. Darren hired John to avenge his brother, but John insists they're doing it his way. No killing. This is categorically untrue. John's way very occasionally does require killing, but he's trying to cut back, you understand? Only if it's absolutely necessary or the guy's a sexual predator, he's got standards. He's pretty good at kneecapping.
Like that guy who's kneecapping everybody.
But murder is still an option. Whatever, not this time, not in front of the kid. Darren accompanies Reese on his step-by-step plan to collapse this gang, something he has a pretty good record on. I think this is like the fourth one. Our gang of what seems to be 3 guys is running a numbers game, which I think is an underground lottery that's more of a shakedown, forcing local shady businesses to sell tickets for them and then bothering them to get the profits. It's clear these guys are just following instructions. They are working for someone. So John shakes up the gang, already down one member with Brick being held in custody by Carter for as long as possible, by stealing their car. This requires the gang members to borrow their grandma's car and lead John straight to the gang leader, who is the only other character I've mentioned, the comic book shop owner, Andre, who's running the numbers gang, but is under someone else's authority. He's got to send payments up. He needs his 2 moron lackeys to take this sack of money to Brighton Beach. I know who's in charge of Brighton Beach, but they don't say his name. I know they really wanted to, but since they didn't, I will not say his name at least 3 times in rapid succession. They head to Brighton Beach, giving John an opportunity to slam a car into someone.
Ain't that your ride?
It is a good thing it's impossible to die from a car crash, otherwise John's methodology might be contrary to his stated goals. He at least is fine with collateral damage. What did Keach's grandma do to deserve that $3,000 auto repair bill? She needs that car to get to Canasta. John kidnaps them both, leaving Trim naked surrounded by beer bottles in the back of a police car, so he goes directly to jail, I guess, and takes Keach to a dark warehouse to torture him. Only psychologically, but it's still torture, demanding intel from him while slowly burning up the money intended for Brighton Beach. He breaks, telling John where the gun that killed Darren's brother is, so he can give it to Carter and get Brick booked for murder. There we go, job's done. Darren is not satisfied with this. He also wants to get rid of Andre, and John starts telling him that revenge needs an endpoint. What's he going to do, fight the police and politicians? He calls Carter to let her know he's got the gun, but Carter can't do anything about it because she was forced to release Brick 20 minutes ago. Andre went to his boss to talk about the missing payment to Brighton Beach, and his captain not Jerry. Oh my god. Why, that means Andre works for Elias. Wait, we already knew that. Captain Not Jerry is not very helpful.
You're on your own with this one.
But he does lean on Carter to get Brick sprung. Things have gone awry. Darren just ran off again, and he's got a gun. John knows where Darren went. He's going to confront Andre, so he needs Finch to bring him a bag with a gun in it. Carter also knows what's going on, and she's also headed to the comic shop, and Fusco tags along because... Man, I don't know what motivates Fusco. Like, he's complaining a lot of having to be an indentured sidekick for John, but he'll go out of his way for him or Finch at least 3 times an episode. He just likes being part of it. Anyway, they didn't need to rush. Darren walked in with a gun ready to kill Andre, and Andre suggests Darren kill Brick instead. Brick is useless to him, he could use a better minion, and he wants to monologue at the kid for a long time.
Because you're smarter than the rest. And you made it all the way here. Claim it. Man, come on. Yeah, I thought that might happen. But you know the thing about comic books? They're just comics.
Finch finally cuts the power, and John bursts in with night vision goggles and shoots everyone in the shoulder. Andre is wily, though, and drags Darren as a hostage out the front door, where Carter and Fusco just pulled up. There's a brief gunfight in the street, and Darren breaks free and flees, and Fusco sees Andre draw on the child and tackles Darren to the ground, saving his life, before John takes the bad guy out. Everybody gets arrested, Fusco got a bullet in the ass, and everything is going to work out for Darren. He's been placed in a good foster home, and John even got him a trumpet. He's going to be alright. I hope he has therapy scheduled. Oh, right, Will. We should tie this plot thread up. Alicia does agree to come into the city to talk to Will, which Harold spends the whole time spying on from across the park, and Alicia tells him to just forget about it. That was just an underground government deal. It's not illegal for sure. Go live your life, kid. I need to get out of here. I am very nervous and jumpy, almost like I'm afraid that I'm being watched at all times. Don't look into why I immediately ran away when you mentioned Harold. Will, after this strange meeting, decides to just drop it. He's going to spend his father's fortune somewhere. We'll never see him again. I guess that technically counts as a plot point. I was really worried it might have been something. Glad it wasn't. Also, surprise, while Finch was spying on Will, Fusco was spying on Finch. And they discover Finch's friendship with Nathan Ingram and how they went to school together, but there's no info about him from before college, so Harold Wren is probably just another cover identity. What can you do? They're not sure what to do with this info, but they'll keep looking into it, and as they part, we change to machine vision. They had this meeting under a street camera, and the machine has interpreted their conversation and has decided, oh no, threat detected. John and Fusco are dangerous. The machine needs to act. It needs to... Oh, it's just going to monitor? So, it's just going to keep watching. Okay, that's not that exciting. Getting red boxes isn't that big a deal, I guess. Next episode, did you like Reservoir Dogs? Anyway, it's a little Reservoir Dogs. John has to go undercover in another criminal gang to help an undercover cop, and then he gets shot in the chest and his body is left in the back of a burning car. Let's see how it gets out of this one. You are being watched.
You are being watched.